Well, I obviously missed the memo with my funky shoes and the lights. So it's pretty cool. So welcome, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Sid. I lead strategy and partnerships for our construction business, and I'm super excited actually to present at my first APS summit. Funny story, I was involved with the setting up of our partner ecosystem way back in, I think, 2016. When we were just getting started with BIM 360, and I used to remember there was a small team of us that were calling on partners and saying, hey guys, you want to integrate with Autodesk? And they'd say, well, what's the integration? Well, integrate with Docs, because Docs was the only API that we actually had. And so we were trying to just get people in there to dump all the data that they could into Docs. And it's interesting to see how far we've come along since then and how much our partner ecosystem has grown and flourished and made us what we are today. So thank you for that. So my talk is about buy, partner, and build, leveraging a thriving AECO ecosystem. And what's really interesting is that if you are a modern-day cloud company, you have to have a ecosystem. You just cannot survive without one. And the richer, the bigger the ecosystem is, the better it is for you as a company, especially if you want to be a category leader. So going to Autodesk, the one thing which is really interesting about Autodesk is we're a very outward-looking company. And when I say outward, we aren't afraid to acquire. As you can see on this chart, we have acquired a significant amount of companies. We have invested in companies. We have partnered with companies. And obviously, we have developed, which is really unique because often you'll see situations where you hear this not invented from here syndrome, where there's just an allergic reaction to not look outward. And Autodesk is one of those companies that is constantly looking outwards, trying to see how we can disrupt ourselves and what's that next wave that's just beyond the horizon. And the partner ecosystem has been with us actually going all the way back to the Autodesk Developer Network. So we've always prided ourselves on having a very rich network. What I want to talk a little bit about is our M&A tenets. And so what I like to call is the 4 M's. So we're a very acquisitive company. I'll just talk about construction for a quick second, because that's a little bit near and dear to my heart. We have acquired, I think, about 6 companies now. We spent over $1.5 billion. And so I often get asked the question, so what is Autodesk's M&A strategy? And I'll just break it down simplistically into 4 M's. So the first one is the market. What's the end market that this company is actually going after? And how attractive is that? That's number one. Number two is, what's the model? We increasingly prefer subscription-based models. There used to be a time when perpetual was the way to go, but since then it's really changed. So for us, it's what is that model? For us, whether it's a subscription, or it's tied to some sort of user, is it tied to construction volume, whether it's tied to facilities, square footage, what have you. The third part for us is about management. Management teams for us are absolutely critical. We build relationships with all the companies that we acquire years in advance. So when you see an acquisition get announced by Autodesk, you think, well, we just woke up one day, we said we've got this gaping hole in our portfolio, and then we somehow spoke to some investment bankers, and then we ginned up this M&A plan and went and acquired a company. Furthest from the truth. Each of our acquisitions that we've acquired, at least in construction, have had an average tenure of knowing the company at least 4, if not 5 years. And the reason I bring this up is, as you're building integrations with us, as you're becoming part of our ecosystem, it's a long-term relationship that we have and we foster. We do not like to have these, I'll call it shotgun approaches to going and acquiring companies. And then the fourth M I'll call out is really money. As a company, public company, we need to make money from our acquisitions. So the one thing that I was told, which I think was really helpful to me, was a good business may not necessarily make a good investment. I can have the best business out there, but if I have to pay a significant premium to acquire it, I'll never make that ROI back. So money for us, again, is very important. So I think these are some of the tenets that we actually stick to at Autodesk. Okay, so as we've acquired all of these companies, we've had a very strategic and I'd say deliberate approach to them. The first piece really has been about continuing to build their capabilities, right? Their champion features. The last thing you want as an acquirer is to acquire a company and then completely shut down all the development work. Because what it'll do is it'll cause disenfranchised customers of that particular company that you acquired, right? And that's a recipe for a disaster. So continuing to invest is very important. At the same time, it's also very important to build purposeful integrations. Because at the end of the day, if data is still trapped in different systems and customers are having to manually upload, download, it becomes increasingly difficult and challenging, right? So building integrations is also very important. And then the final piece really relates to unification. And if you look at Autodesk Construction Cloud today, that is a journey in unification. Some of our acquisitions that we made, I think the best example is PlanGrid, right? PlanGrid and BIM 360, two separate solutions. We acquired them, and then over time, we made sure that we unified both of them into what today is Autodesk Build, right? Another example is Pipe. We acquired Pipe, their functionality around AutoSpecs, which is able to read submittal logs. We brought that functionality into Build. We unified it there. You're going to hear about unification around ProEst, our cloud-based estimating tool. So at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is reduce the friction and burden on our customers. And the faster we can get there and the quicker we can stop maintaining multiple different applications, the faster we can start to really innovate at scale, right? So that is really our approach to Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, this slide shows the whole gamut from plan, design, build, operate. We would love to cover everything ourselves, right? Our customers would frankly love us to do it all. The reality is we can never do everything ourselves. And frankly, we shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, there are companies like yourselves in the room that are building really strong products and capabilities that win the hearts and minds of customers. Great example is the companies we've acquired along the journey, right? So for us to try to build everything is going to spread ourselves too thin. So why this is important is that you have an integral role to play in our growth, which then translates really into your growth. And that just shows, I mean, this is one of the slides, even though it's an eye chart, it's meant to be an eye chart. It is a very proud moment for me to actually just show the number of logos here on this slide. Sometimes people talk about, logos and what's the real value. Is it really, quantity? What about the quality? I will say there used to be a time where we used to be chasing partners. We should be chasing all of you in the room saying, build integrations with us. And I do know where you all are going. A lot of you are startups. You're trying to get to where the customers are. So for us to have you build integrations that's taking time away from you, it's your resources, and you'd rather be spending it where it's the most bang for your buck, right? And so I remember it used to be very challenging for us to convince you to come. And it's amazing to see just the sheer volume of customers now. And now we have a moral obligation as we build these capabilities out to make sure that we are putting in place the best, most robust APIs possible so that you can give our customers, our joint customers, the best possible customer experience that you can. So this, first of all, I'll just take a quick pause and say the types of engagements and partners that we have. OpenSpace is a great example of that. That is the type of partner that is a model partner for us, building really deep integrations with us and for the benefit of our customers. On this slide, what you see is Gamma AR. This is yet another partner of ours, and we're an investor in the company in Gamma. And an example here is, they're able to take models that are stored in docs and import it into Gamma AR and bring it into Gamma's AR immersive environment. And from there, you can start to look at the model or the intent versus, the progress, and start to identify deviations, issues that then get created and can be round-trip back into Autodesk Build with all the representative visual documentation. What this is able to actually do is ultimately is reduce the amount of rework out in the field, right? And reduce the cost associated with the project. So our ecosystem, our AECO ecosystem, which has been around for a while, in different manifestations. The ADN has been the most mature. But our AECO ecosystem is really meant to drive value to our multiple stakeholders, right? So obviously, to all of you in the room as partners, to our customers, and then also for Autodesk, because at the end of the day, this is not an altruistic initiative, right? I mean, we want to create integrations and meaningful experiences, but at the end of the day, we're all in the business here of making money. So for our customers, what we want to be able to do is provide really robust and rich integrations. And that is on us to give you the APIs needed so that your products really shine when your customers or our customers take a look at that, right? The second piece that we want to provide to you is the ability to give you as much mileage coverage from a go-to-market standpoint. How can we elevate your product, your use cases, the ability that you bring to us? So that becomes a really integral part of what we offer to you. For us, for our customers, it's all about seamless workflows. As I showed you on that prior slide, we can't deliver everything. So the more we can have very robust integrations, we are eliminating data loss, avoiding trapped data in silos, and really enabling a much more seamless experience for our customers. And then finally, for Autodesk, the richer the ecosystem of partners that we have, the stronger we are, the more differentiated we are. As I said to you at the start of my presentation, we are really because of our partners, because we can never do everything that we need. And when we go up against competition, our sales teams are always pulling in our partners to augment gaps that we have. So I think you all play an exceptionally critical role in our success. And with that, I want to call out the fact that, and I'm very happy to call it out, that we're going to be launching our revamped AECO partner program at AU. And hopefully you'll have a chance to meet with James. James Cook, please raise your hand. So James is part of my partnerships team. He leads the partnerships effort, and he's going to be having a mixer. So all of you that are not aware of it, definitely try to show up or reach out to him, meet with him to learn more about this program. The goal here at the end of the day is to generate as much value to all of you. But we're taking a different look at our partner program. And we're revamping it in a couple of ways. The first way we want to look at it is, not all partners at the end of the day are created equal. And rather than just having a blanket partner program, it doesn't really provide value because for a customer, it's a lot of noise. And fundamentally, those partners that are really working hard to show off their capabilities and are seeing resonance with the market are lost in the noise. So what you're going to see going forward with our program is you will get rewarded for the number of customers that you're able to bring on board, the more usage of your integration that you're able to drive, right? So for us, our commitment to you is ensuring very high, robust APIs so that you can deliver on that integration to showcase your tools. To the extent that you're delivering on that, our goal is then to really help, at the end of the day, push and advance and advocate for your capabilities as a fundamental partner of Autodesk. With that, I'll stop and thank you for your time.